Huma, we know that you're a very talented actress. A lot of people are fans of yours. But honestly, I've started reading this and phenomenal. You're so creative. So how do you, is this part of your craft as an actor, or is this who you all are? Because I see a lot of shades of you in Zeba.
Yeah, I would love to be a superhero, right?
Yes, yes.
No, thank you, सबसे पहले तो thank you Tehseen for doing this and for being so gracious and kind with your words. Thank you Pune for coming in such large numbers to support a debutante author. Means a lot, especially in our country where writers की इतनी इज्जत होती नहीं है. But no, I think Zeba came from, I guess, all my interaction and collaboration with so many writer-directors that I've had the good fortune of working with. Because whenever you get a script to read, you're always talking so much more about it. कि इसमें और क्या है? What are the different shades and nuances? So I think credit goes to all those amazing people I've had the good fortune of interacting with, and they help me understand characters better. So for those who read the book, each chapter in the book is a different character taking the story forward. So it's always in first person, and then only after perhaps a few passages you realize whose perspective it really is, and it really helps you get into the story a bit more.
So that's what I wanted to come to, and you led us there. Each chapter introduces another character. Now, for somebody who most of us would know as an actor, and you'd expect it to be very linear, that's a lot of shades and clouding. So how did you manage this? Was this something you thought about? Was it that came about to introduce a character every single chapter? That's amazing.
So thank you. I think for this particular book, I did something which is called a stream of consciousness writing, which basically meant that I actually started writing it in the end of 2018, beginning 2019. And I would just wake up every morning, take a cold shower and get down to write. I didn't think much about what I was writing. I just let it flow. And often what happens, I realize that most people are afraid to write because of two reasons. One is a discipline to write, to do it every single day. And second is that we are so scared to put our thoughts out in the world. Tehseen, I cannot even tell you, just about a week before the book was about to come out, I got such cold feet. Because I'm as an actor, people can comment on how I look or how I perform the scene or how good I am in a film. But this is people responding to how you think. That's a different kind of vulnerability. That's a different kind of exposing yourself to people. So I got really, really nervous.
You did, but the reviews are great. Everyone who's read it seems to fall in love with the book. So again, congratulations there. Tell us a little bit about Zeba, because here is this ordinary girl, New York, living a normal life, or sort of a different life, and then she comes to this magical land. Unbelievable. The character takes a completely different turn. Did also some of the what she goes through from her Kushi life to what she in Kudir, is this something that you envisage as a normal girl, the changes women go through? Is that personified?
I think what really drew me to writing this book was the fact that I love the idea of misfits. I love the idea of, coming back to your question, misfits saving the world. And I think all of us in our heads, no matter how perfect we might appear to the outside world, think of ourselves as not perfect enough or just a misfit. And I love the idea of a person who could perhaps be a superhero. Like somebody asked me the other day, who according to you is a superhero? And I was like, anyone who can empathize with another person and want to help them in whatever big or small way. And I think Zeba on the surface seemed like a very bratty, spoiled, outspoken person, perhaps a little unlikable. But even if you sort of peel the layers, you actually find that no, she has something so much more to offer to the world.
Yeah, empathy. And that's what got me going, because when you think of superheroes, the conventional superheroes, say a Superman, the Clark Kent, or a Spider-Man as Peter Parker, or even a He-Man as Prince Adam, they may be rich, or in Superman, Clark Kent's a very simple man, but they aren't spoiled. Here comes a character that is a complete misfit, even smoking weed. I don't want to give too much about the book. You need to read the book. Are we allowed to say weed? I'm just joking. The mic got turned off. But no. But here's a girl who's completely a misfit. So to go from that, we've seen from a Clark Kent or a Peter Parker to a superhero. But this to that is a different range.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
I think women sometimes have too much pressure of being perfect all the time. Why are we not allowed to be badly behaved and spoiled and little sassy? And why can't that person be a superhero? Who said that only good girls get to be superheroes? So that was, I think, the idea. And Zeba is very spoiled. She's sassy, untamed, as one would like to call her. But I think these are just adjectives. And adjectives don't really describe a person. And for me, I think like we need to, when we look at men or women, we need to move beyond adjectives. And I feel like each and every one of us has the potential to be more, do more. And we should lean into each and every aspect of our personality, including the witty one-liners and the sassiness.
Absolutely. And yeah, they say good girls are go to heaven, bad girls have all the fun. So yeah, here's Zeba having all the fun. But the great Khan, the dictator, he rules with an iron fist, no press conferences, doesn't talk to the media, doesn't like foreign media criticizing him. That's very dictatorial. How did the idea of the great Khan come across?
So writing those chapters where I had to write from the perspective of the great Khan actually were the most difficult, because the great Khan is the epitome of everything that I do not believe in. He is a misogynist person who's against freedom of expression. Women in the kingdom can't even read or write. Like, he's just cruel and just a tyrant. And I was like, okay, now how do I write from this perspective? Because I hate that person. But this is where I think, being an actor helps, because as an actor, I can't judge a character. If I'm supposed to play a killer, or I'm supposed to play a dictator, I have to believe I'm that person. And I did. And those were actually some of my favorite chapters, because they're just quite wicked in its own sense, and he's enjoying his wickedness. And then, of course, right towards the end, the flip comes, which is, for a lot of people, they told me that, oh my God, I've hated this character, but now, I don't know. But yeah, he's still bad, but maybe it just helps me understand why he is the way he is. I feel like we often look at people in blacks and whites, and that's not the case. In order to understand anything, you have to look at that situation in totality. So the great Khan is a tyrant in the truest sense, and hopefully Zeba will be able to, for those who not read the book, bring down his downfall.
But what I found very interesting about Great Khan, it's written from a very also Indian storytelling perspective. And if I may explain on that, in Indian mythologies, yes, you have a bad and a good, but you also have characters in the bad. There are layers. So it's not just evil. It's bad, but there are some amount of good in that. And I found that switch, because the American or the Western way is very good and bad, white and black. So there are shades of grey. There's, for example, when the great Khan, I again want to go too much detail, lets go of his brother and the family. He feels he doesn't want to let go of his brother, but he still lets go when the protesters come. So I think you've managed that. That's very Indian. That's not very Western. Western is just black. There's no white. There's no grey there. Hitler is bad. Saddam Hussein is bad. Forces of evil. Here you've got some amount of grey, some amount of emotion. I find that fascinating.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's Western or Eastern, but it's definitely, I think, the difference between good writing and bad writing.
That's true.
I think you can't keep it so compartmentalized. I personally really enjoy characters in literature, films that are just layered and nuanced. Like a bad guy also, was born to a mother, has a wife, has a girlfriend, has a partner. A good guy also will have a bad day, like our mothers, they're perfect. For me, my mom is perfect, but she will also have a bad day and yell at me and do something not so nice. But I feel that's what makes that relationship interesting. I feel if everybody is good all the time, or bad, it just makes a very boring storytelling, or even real life perhaps, right? Like, I wouldn't want to be with somebody who's just perfect all the time. I like people who are a little jaggedy at the end.
That's true. Did writing about, say, the Great Khan or any of these evil scenes take a little bit of emotions out of you? Did it weigh heavily on you?
I think it was cathartic. It really was cathartic. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, when I see so much cruelty in the world around me and so much like people just being harsh towards each other and toxic, I don't know what to do. I don't know, there's a acute sense of perhaps feeling helpless almost. Why are people being so mean and horrible to each other? So sometimes just writing it out on the page through characters and solving it on the page through characters just helps you feel a little bit more in control of the situation. So sometimes, writing can be therapeutic. It was for me at least. Okay, I can't solve the bigger issues in the world, but perhaps sometimes through literature, through fantasy fiction, we can imagine a better reality than exists.
So now we have the audience here. Let's. Are we ready to throw this open for the audience? You guys want to ask Huma some questions? The maharani of television, of OTT, and of movies.
Yes.
We'll.
The book talks about PTSD, which is very rare in superhero genre. Like only a few characters are there that talk about PTSD. So how that idea came about? And my second question is that is there any planning for any web series on the book?
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर नहीं यार तो मैं सच बात बताऊं तो जब मैंने ये लिखा ना तो I wrote the first 10 pages not as a book but as a pitch for a television series. Actor हूँ ना तो दिमाग ऐसे ही चलता है. So and I sent it to a bunch of people in the US to my agents, and they were like, "Oh, it's a great idea, but it needs some hundreds of millions of dollars to do it, and like we don't even know you." And I was like, "Fair enough." फिर कोविड आया और कोविड आया तो उस चक्कर में मुझे लगा अच्छा अब क्या करना चाहिए, या तो इसको स्क्रिप्ट बना लिया जाए. अच्छा script, but I thought that's like conventional, and then I thought maybe I should jam with a couple of like comic book creators. कुछ किताबें हैं जो मुझे बहुत पसंद है, जैसे Persepolis है या Craig Thompson की हबीबी है. So I really like the way they've been imagined. So I thought maybe I should ideate with a comic book creator and make a comic series out of it. But I was like, यार उस पर बहुत मेहनत है क्योंकि किसी बंदे से बात करो, उसको अपने thought समझाओ, फिर उसका expression. So it's a little. So I was like, okay, you know what? My parents have gotten me a good education, so must put it to good use. I can form a few sentences. Let's attempt to write it. I didn't know what was gonna happen to it. That's how the book happened. So inshallah, I'm hoping it sees the light of the day and becomes a series or a film, kabhi to. And the second question also is because it started during COVID. I think I had a lot of time to think about my mental health, and I think it put me on a personal journey of self-discovery and trying to understand myself better, my triggers, my emotions, my feelings, my healing journey. And I think that's why it crept into the character as well, because I feel like we only again have so much of burden on superheroes, right? Like they have to be always good and perfect and like whatever, but to sometimes take difficult decisions, including harm to property or people's lives, that must take a toll on you. So it was just that. Even superheroes need empathy.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to ask some questions before we go back to asking? Please. So, can you give one?
First of all, I must compliment you. Lovely. That song in Gangubai, I must have watched it like 10,000 times or so. So, my only question to you is, since you are a debutant author, what are your advices to somebody who's writing for the first time?
Just do it. Yeah, just do it every single day. It sucks. It's hard work. It's boring. You want to like burn those pages and throw them and cry and be like, I'm terrible. I can't even punctuate properly. But don't worry about it. Just let it all out. And then I think the story, the characters, the world will themselves create, out of somewhere. I feel we are mediums. We don't create, but if we allow something to get created through us, it happens. So just allow it to happen. Just you get out of the way.
Thank you.
That's very interesting you said that, because I'm writing my first book. I hope to release it in June. Yeah.
Amazing. You better call me for the launch.
You're going to launch it. So, and at times I do feel scared of letting out truly what I want to say. Mine's not fiction. Mine's real, but I do feel scared. So I understand what you must be going to, especially a spotlight on you as an actor. You sort of, you grapple with that. So yeah, so that is amazing, and that takes a lot of courage.
Listen, I'm an actor. I say one comment and people just make articles out of it. And I'm like, but I didn't even say that. But I meant it differently. So I'm like, now I'm going to write about a character that is flawed, that is this, that is that. Like, I don't even know So, like, will I be judged for it, or will people grab, like, I don't know, lines from it and quote it out of context or something? So that's a very real fear in my life.
And that fear rubbed onto me, your fear about you, because while I was visualizing this moment at Crossword, I wanted to be very clear when I asked on the Great Khan any questions. I stay clear of any controversy that may not even, that we've not intended but creates, because I don't want anyone to be a part of any controversy. So I understand where you're coming from. But yeah, I think somebody out there was, yeah. Yes, please. Finally, we have the women.
Hi, Huma. I actually posted a really detailed review of your book on social media, and you had read it and responded to me also. So
Tell me your name again.
Anmol.
Anmol, what did you write?
I had written that, when you read her on the page, when you read about Zeba, the whole character sort of, it reads as like it's been written with the purpose of rebellion as well as self-reflection. So,
I love that, yeah.
I sort of read the book, and I somehow instinctively knew that this character has somehow been conceived in a time such as the lockdown, when we are all introspecting about ourselves. So, and like you said, it feels like a lot of you is in the character. So what I wanted to ask you was, what is one thing about Zeba that you like and you have in common with her, and something that you like about her that you don't have in common with her, and the same thing with something that you don't like about her?
पहले तो बहुत सारे like और dislike हो गए.
Is it really you? Is it a you?
No, it's not. I wish it could be me. It could be anybody. It can be you. It can be you. It can be anyone. सबसे पहले तो thank you. Rebellion and self-reflection. I mean, I think you really like hit the nail on its head. That's very like astute observation. Things I like about Zeba, I think she's more unafraid than I am. I think what I like about her is she's able to say whatever with a shrug of her head and like a toss of her head, and then she doesn't care. I wish I was that carefree. I would like to be, but I still don't say a lot of things I'd like to. I think I'm far more in control of my... I'm far in touch with who I am more than Zeba is. I think this book is about her self-discovery and her journey. I think I'm pretty clear. I know myself. Thoda bahut to. I mean, nobody can ever know themselves completely. So I think that's the one thing we don't have in common. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
I was fascinated.
तीन चार like dislike तो इतना चलेगा ना?
What's your name, by the way, again?
Anmol.
Okay. The choice of her cape. Tell us about it, because it's unusual.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because it's set in a make-believe country, Khudir, it's and the Great Khan rules it, so she has to be a superhero, and she chooses to wear a hijab, and that's a superhero cape, and it's perfect because what does a superhero need? A cape, that helps you be anonymous and save the world.
That's true, and I think that's very, very fascinating that you put that, particularly because she draws so much of strength from that. I think that's fascinating to put it that way. And in a strange way, it also is so different from the cape that you think that the superheroes have with a Batman or Superwoman or Wonder Woman. So I think that's fascinating to go out there and do it. Were you conscious when you put the hijab as a cape that this could be some sort of a backlash, or no? You were very clear that that's because of the setting of the
like I said, I don't think the idea is to just put something for controversy's sake. No, I think when you read the book, and which is why, I think I'm so averse to doing a lot of interviews about it, because no matter what you say, people will use it as clickbait.
Yes.
People will try and take a headline out of it and be like, Huma Qureshi said this, or Huma Qureshi feels this. But no, this is a book. Once you read it, you'll understand the perspective. But most people who create controversies don't read books.
They never.
And they should.
They never.
I'm saying whoever wants to know why I wrote it, the answer's in the book. Please read. It's only 400 something.
Buy the book and read it. No free copies. We don't give nothing free. Yes, sir, please.
Can I?
Sure, sure.
Hi, Huma. She's my daughter. So she brought me here, and I hadn't read this book. She has already read it, and I'm going through it, liking it. So there's a huge generation gap down there with me and Anmol. I think I'm maybe 30 years. So now I don't know which gen you belong to, but the character which you stretched out in the beginning, it could be Anmol. Hates people. I'm sure she smokes weed. And
Do you? Do you? You ever cool dad?
her dad is from a medical school, man. So we all did weed.
Are you a doctor, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm a surgeon in the army.
Guys, this is all medically prescribed. Don't worry about it.
No, within limits, of course. So coming back to the thing that if there is a lot of you in that book, the political beliefs of some of the characters which come across, or their attitudes, and even the thing about women and about being antisocial and hating people, because nowadays teenagers do hate people. I remember we used to love to go for parties. Nowadays it's a pain to drive them out. So is this a generation thing which we are talking about?
Wait. Your daughter doesn't like to go for parties?
No.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly like this girl. Okay, brown parents. I don't want to go. Who's this cousin? Why should I go for his wedding? I can't dance at anybody's wedding.
वो party नहीं होती है. Party अलग होती है.
I'm sure about that.
वो family reunion होता है.
So, Huma, is this about brown parents which you brought up? Have you lived through it?
I'm going to actually read you a little chapter which I'm looking for.
Okay.
I think
I've not reached that maybe.
I know, but I'm going to read it for you. I think if you give me a second, while you started talking, I'm like, I must read it for you. It's the chapter that Aisha has. Yeah.
We all want Huma to take her time, so we have more of her out here. That's the idea.
Okay, got it. So this is a chapter which says, My gherkin, my jaan. So it's actually from the perspective of Zeba's foster mother, a woman called Aisha. But I think you're a dad, but it'll still resonate with you. It's hard to make children understand the value of legacy, where they really come from, who they are. By the time they exit their childhood rebellion phase and head to teenage angst, and then tumble into the turbulence of the 20s, a lot of time is lost. And along with that, a lot of history too. Memories erased, people dead, recipes forgotten, letters lost, tastes disremembered, fragrances evaporated. Fana lost, gone forever. Legacy. That is all that matters, is it not? This is from Aisha's perspective. So she says, now in the menopausal phase of my life, having lived and seen it all, through my hot flashes, irritability, nutritional supplements and night sweats, I realize that legacy is all that matters. All that helps us navigate life. Where we are, where we come from, enables us to take better decisions about where we are headed. But how does one explain this to children? The boys will not understand, and Zeba will not listen.
So nice.
So when I wrote that, I was thinking about my relationship with my mother and my father, because sometimes, when you're like, it could be anything. It could be, I don't want to go to this family wedding, it's so boring, or I want to go out with my friends, and why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? It's always about, because I feel a generation, my parents have lived their life, or you've lived your life a certain way, in a certain time, in a certain period, and those are your impressions of the world, which are very true. But then she has her own, and what you're trying to do is gift her those impressions, because that's what you did, right? When she was born, when your kids are born, you teach them how to speak the way you speak. You give them your recipes, what you eat at home. You give them your memories. You give them a family history, your books, your education, everything, the way you dress. And that's what we're trying to do. And sometimes they're like, okay, I've got this, I want to do my own thing now. So it's that, and it's beautiful. And I think it'll always happen. It happened with, I'm sure, you and your father. It'll happen whenever she decides to have her kids. And I think it's so beautiful.
Huma, let me take that further, what you just said and what the doctor said. You come from a very prestigious family in Delhi, in the culinary business. Was it, and then you ventured out of Delhi to the big bad world of Mumbai, or the dream world of Mumbai, to become an actor. From a privileged background, you just had your restaurants, to here. Of course, your brother followed you. Was that something you grappled with? How did your family deal with? Was that a complete shift from
100% bang on. I mean, thanks for bringing that up. We have a family restaurant called Salim's, which is going to be 50 now. Which is unheard of, actually, to be honest, as far as restaurant business goes. But my dad was very keen that both Saqib and I joined the family business. But I was very clear that no, I don't enjoy this, and I want to do arts and creativity and do theatre, and and when the acting bug bites, then you're gone. Then nothing else you can do. So I think there was a bit of that when I started, and I think as all parents would, they were just very concerned and extremely worried because we knew no one in Bombay, and they were like, "But how will you survive? You don't know anybody." And the media doesn't help because they write all these mostly untrue stories about how the movie business works. Not to say they aren't bad people, there are lots of bad people, but there are bad people in every profession. He'll tell you a few. So I'm saying it's not, but of course because we're actors, so everything is really like glamorous. So it's always good to gossip about like oh, the movie business is like that. But I think it was right. They were right where they were coming from, and I had to explain to them and saying, Dad, this is what I really want to do. And I think my father loves me immensely, so I a little bit emotionally manipulated him, and he's very, very proud, of course, today that we had that conversation and I took that decision because if I hadn't, I would always regret it and I would hold him responsible.
That's true. And for those of you all who come to Delhi, believe me, Salim's is the best kebabs in the country. Trust me, I want to get Salim's to Pune. It's as good as it is. Yeah, we should do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we should do it. We're striking deals at Crosswords. But yeah, anyone else? Yeah, please.
Hello, ma'am.
Oh,
You're amazing. So, writing a book is very difficult. And a fantasy, it involves world building. And then you're talking about mental health. There's so much characters. And then when you're writing a book, you just delve into the characters so much that you have to become the character in order to write it. And how you talked about that writing the antagonist, like it was completely against your beliefs. So how did that take a toll on your mental health, or did it actually?
That's what you asked. Right? I loved it because I felt like whatever the gussa was inside me was somewhere page mein nikal diya. I'm telling you also, whenever you're triggered or angry with the world, it could be anything. You have a boyfriend?
I don't.
Okay. जो imaginary boyfriend है उसपे जितना भी गुस्सा है सब निकाल देना पेज के ऊपर. It really helps you declutter. I recommend it highly. I've been journaling now for the last 20 years. I recommend it highly. Just unclutter your mind.
Okay, thank you.
You. Yeah, please. Mike?
Hi, sorry. So my question was, did you at any point face rejection or opposition regarding the book, considering especially the religious differences or her choice of cape? Was there ever any doubt in your mind regarding that?
No, I never faced any rejection while writing. In fact, I got more rejection as an actor than a writer. It's quite amazing. I mean, I've been rejected more, I'm saying, as an actor than as a writer. When I wrote the manuscript when it was 70% done, I sent it to 2 publishing houses, leading publishing houses, and they both reverted back saying, we love the book and we'd love to, do this. And I'm so happy that HarperCollins was the final home for Zeba. And they've been really champions of the book, and they've really helped me, help crystallize my vision for it. I did not intend it to be a book which talks about any religion. It's a book. If it was called Sushma, would you ask me that question? Yeah, so there's the thing, you have to think about the question you asked.
Also, I think because the land is Qadir, it is an Islamic country. Therefore, if it was based somewhere else, it would perhaps be different, right? Your characters are based that way. It has nothing to do with religion. It's agnostic. From what I read in your book, it just happens to be so. Perfect. So yeah.
Hi Huma, I'm Isha. First of all, I'm so intrigued by the cover, like the color and the way she's presenting, like, you know, with a cape but yet so stylish. I just love the cover.
She's sassy just like you.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
love your jewelry, by the way.
Thank you so much. And like, I have not read the book yet, but I feel this little thing is so engaging. Like what you have written for all the little girl who dreams of flying and misfits who refuse to give up. I have only one advice: keep asking those damn questions. I mean, I think I'll finish this just after going home. I mean, it's so engaging, and I've heard what people have said. Really, I love being here. Thank you so much, like you know, giving me this opportunity to be in front of you. It's amazing.
You are lovely. Thank you for all the love. Will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Since you read so well, read a little excerpt for everyone. No? Come, I'll tell you which one.
So it's
What's your name again?
Isha.
Okay guys, Isha's going to read something for you.
Okay, just I'm saying sorry in advance if I fumble somewhere because I'm in front of so many big people here. So yeah, I'm reading from page number 1, the second paragraph. It says, "Hi, I am a second generation immigrant based in New York and I love my life. Over the course of this book, I shall share with you how I am also surprisingly destined to protect it. Although I did not start this book with the usual once upon a time blah 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 banality, if ever there was a tale that needed this particular opening line, then perhaps this is the one. You see, I am after all a superhero. And this story shall take you to the very beginning, to the source of my superpowers, the fabled Holy Spring Zaza, where I shall eventually also confront my destiny. So yes, I am Zeba, an accidental superhero with a hijab for a cape. Yes, you read that right. Everything you will read in the following pages is a fiction. Do not believe anything you read here. Just because something is written doesn't make it true. Is that right, guys?
Very well read. Thank you. Just because something is written down does not make it true.
Right.
Absolutely. And definitely what comes on your WhatsApp is not true. Definitely not true.
That is the generation gap, the WhatsApp.
The WhatsApp University. But any more questions before we launch the book and we get Huma to sign? Because I can, please, let her ask then. Yeah, come.
Okay, go. She has a mic.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go. The pink t-shirt. Sorry, you go first.
Hi Huma. So, firstly, congratulations on your debut novel. And one thing I'd like to really tell you, the cover, the Zeba that is on the cover, is actually, when you look at Zeba, you actually picturize Huma Qureshi. That is what I want to tell you.
You should be my casting agent.
So I just wanted to ask you a technical question actually, apart from the literature part. Did you ever face writer's block as a debutante writer? Did you ever face the writer's block thing, or was it always in your mind what you wanted to get on the paper?
Sabse pehle to this cover, and there are some beautiful 15 illustrations in the book. They have been done by Peya Hazarika. She's amazing, and she has contributed so much, to how the book looks and feel. I wanted a very old fable kind of a feeling to the book, so I think that credit goes to her. Some of them are more serious, some of them are more fun. So do enjoy them. Writer's block नहीं यार अभी इतना काम ही नहीं किया कि writer's block वो luxury है. जब कर लूँगी तो बताऊँगी कि what it feels like.
Thank you.
You wanted to ask?
Hello. Hi, ma'am. Actually, I've not read it yet, but just I want to appreciate you by saying few lines. There are two powers in the world. One is word, and other is pen. But the third power is more stronger than both, and that is woman, and that is you. And we see you as very strong, inspirational women. Congratulations for this book. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely.
Is that your... Oh wow. What's his name?
Vihan.
Mothers are superheroes. All mothers are superheroes. Anyone else before we unveil the book and get one thing? Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
इसको तो चार्ज करना शुरू कर देते सवाल पूछ रही है, हाँ? 500 rupees per question.
But yeah.
I just wanted to. This is one of my favorite parts from the book. This is from the 23rd chapter near the end. It says, how did these women, always in parda, always separated, exercise so much influence in this post 9/11 world of Khudir and the US of A that brought about the end of the biggest despot of the modern world? When I read the book, I like obviously you're a woman, so your experiences as a woman make it inherently easier to write as a female character than as a male character. But when you're writing, how important do you think it is the way the characters are gendered in the book? And there's a very clear dynamic of gender and gender politics in the book. And how important do you think it is that Zeba is a strong woman in today's world, which honestly I think in the last 30 years is the worst time to be a woman. I think in the last 30 years this is the most misogynistic time that I have lived in. So how important...
Gali only lived 30 years.
No, but I know that before women had suffrage and all of those things were bad up till 1800, and with HIV on the rise and how prostitutes in India suffered disproportionately because of these diseases, and women had less access to healthcare. There were no proper health services for childbirth and all of these things. So things really started improving in the last 5 decades or so for women. But in the last 20 years or so, I feel there has been a real regression in mindset that was not very evident 15 years ago today, but it is very visible, especially on social media today. Like, I think you cannot make any comment if your profile picture is a woman. You cannot respond to any comment and have it go viral and not have backlash from men. So how important do you think it is that Zeba is who she is inherently in the book, and how the men are characterized around her in the story?
No, thank you for your question, and thank you for expressing what you felt. I cannot gaslight you by saying that no, it's not true. It is true. There is a gendered politics, but I mean, to say whether it's the worst time to be a woman, I don't agree with that. Is it a difficult time to be a woman? It always has been, and we're also in the middle of it, where perhaps we have not really outgrown the gender politics part of it. At the same time, the use of technology is helping us be more misogynist, patriarchal, closed, all of that. So actually, technology is being used. हमको लगता है कि जब लोग बहुत पढ़ लिख जाते हैं, तो perhaps they become better. But that's not really true. Sometimes education becomes a tool for you to be even more backward thinking. And like WhatsApp universities or whatever it is. So it's really unfortunate. Like today, I don't know if you saw, Mark Zuckerberg apologized, for the misuse of the platform. Trolling women on social media platforms is a very real reality. Trust me, I know, I face it every single day. Not a picture, a comment or whatever that I can post where people comment about every part of my body to how I dress or whatever. And I think we need to look at online abuse as real abuse. If you abuse a woman in public, in a car, in a train, or you do it online, it's the same thing. That mental harassment is the same. And I think we're in the middle of figuring that out, but we need young girls like you to speak up, to talk about it, but don't speak from a place of fear. That's my only sharing as a friend, as a woman, because I feel what happens is you're going to alienate the men. In this world, we all need to do this together. It's not us versus them. It's us together. Like today, I do a lot of female-centric films, right? And I'm talking about my experience. And most of them have been written by men or directed by men. But sometimes I feel that even though their experiences are very different from us, they're trying to understand. They're trying to empathize. They cannot fully comprehend the female experience because they've not lived that life. And sometimes perhaps they don't understand the male privilege. which is fine, but you can't beat somebody for it, right? You can tell them, see, this is what is happening. So which is why I also wrote this book. You know, for example, the harem, I was telling Tehseen earlier, we talk of the harem as this place, which is this debauched place for the pleasure of the thing. But who has written this? Because no man has ever entered the harem ever. And it's a recorded historical fact. So these are just imaginations of male historians perhaps. So a lot of female historians are reclaiming bits of their history. So this is through my rendition of what this harem would be. I reclaimed a part of my strength. Saying, no, why wouldn't some of these women be revolting inside the harem? Or running like a little office against the Khan? Who stopped? Because this is fantasy fiction, right? Why can't that be a reality? So I feel like in our sphere of influence, whatever that may be, you know, in schools, in colleges, in our workplaces, our homes, reclaim your own power. But don't do it from a place of anger or bitterness. Do it from a place of empathy, love and understanding.
So well put. Just to add there, as a political activist, one of the things that drives me, or I work with, and I spoke to some of the politicians about it, I won't take names here, because is making social media a safe space for women. I think it is important that if social media is seen as a democratic platform, then it should be also a safe space. So like Huma rightly said, you can't tease a woman in a bus or in a train, right? There'll be consequences. Those consequences must follow in real world if you do it in cyber world. So I think that's something that we as men understand and we would want to work with you all. So yeah, this is your space. And let no man bully you. So shall we unveil the book and inside? One love. Okay.
थोड़ा light सवाल पूछना हाँ please. Let's unveil this book on a lighter note.
Hello, big fan first of all, and congratulations on the book. So it's a very simple question actually. What are the challenges you faced while writing the book? I'm sure sometimes whenever we are writing something, everything that has happened in the past, it comes on the surface and it actually affects the present life. So how did you tackle all these things?
I just wanted to write a book. I think जब मैं बहुत छोटी थी तो मैं जर्नल में से लिखा था कि I want to win an Oscar. I think उस साल जब मैं स्कूल में थी तो I remember Arundhati Roy had won the Booker Prize. And I thought like, अरे वाह, how cool, an Indian, and I didn't even know what the Booker Prize was or who she was or anything. But I was just very excited that one Indian girl has won something. I know somehow we take great pride in when one of our own, does something brilliant globally. So मैंने ऐसे लिख दिया अपने वो जर्नल में, one day I will also win the Booker Prize. ऐसे. तो I think बहुत कीड़ा था दिमाग में. I never really thought of it until this idea came to me. So I don't know if there will be another book or not, but please read this one and tell me what you think. You know, I have an idea. Can I tell you? Don't tell anyone. No, it's a big secret. So for those of you who have not read the book, the final chapter is not there in the book. Like there's one more chapter after it, but the final chapter has been omitted. So I'm thinking part 2 will be the final chapter.
Looking for it.
Good idea?
Yes. Typical superhero franchise.
This is where film training helps.
So shall we unveil the book and then do signing? Come on.
Yeah.
I managed. Okay, guys.